Welcome back to Uncorked-N-Conversation Act 2 interview with country sensation Roberta Lea. She has released her debut album, Too Much of a Woman. So we are going to continue to pick up what she is putting down in country music. Cheers.
I'm wondering, did you hear the comment that John Schneider made in an interview about just the look on your face? I love it. About Beyonce's country album she's coming out with in the music.
Too little of a man. That's all I have to say about that.
Boom. Boom.
Because what are you doing, sir?
I love it.
Exactly.
When's the last time you had a billion dollar tour?
Okay.
And
he had a music career.
Last time you had a multi-million dollar tour, sir?
He had a music career. You know, I'm not shaming anybody, but it was about that big.
Right.
And that really? Long.
Right.
Right. I just felt like it was a very poor choice of words to try to compare something like that to walking a dog and a dog using the bathroom to mark their place.
It was very intentional.
Absolutely, it was.
Because you don't see any interviews out there about Dolly Parton going to rock and roll.
Oh, right.
Where's the conversation with Dolly Parton going, or with Jelly Roll? There's a new artist named Jelly Roll, and someone said that he spent 10 years trying to have a rap career that was trash. Yeah. Apparently, that's just what somebody said. Don't quote me on that. I never heard the music.
Allegedly, yeah.
But allegedly, they said that it obviously didn't work because he's not in rap anymore. He transitions over to company. He gets full throttle support from the country music scene, transitioning from rap to country. But they are trying to come in. Who are these they people trying to come in and take over everything and
trying to be the gatekeeper? No,
I was about to say that, trying to be the gatekeeper. Come on,
gatekeeper. And I mean, it's really just sound bites. They got nothing else to talk about. He doesn't have anything going. Where's your press tour, sir? Where's your interview for your new music, sir?
Hello.
Where are your performances? If you were busy being successful, you wouldn't have the time to be barking on somebody else's success.
Exactly.
Because you want to talk about dogs peeing on trees, you wouldn't have any time barking up somebody else's tree. Sniffing somebody else's behind. That's what he's doing. You want to sit here and talk about dogs? You over here sniffing her behind because you ain't got your own behind to sniff. You can't even reach. You got no reach.
Girl, you better read him up and down that tree.
You ain't got no reach. If you were busy, sir, if you were successful, where is your time? Where would you have time for this?
Right.
Y'all ain't got nothing to talk about.
Right.
Nothing to talk about. Yeah. So you might want to thank your queen bee for giving you for putting your face and your name on people's timelines. How about you do that?
Right.
That's all.
That's
he did just so he can be relevant.
Yeah, he did. That's it.
To make himself relevant.
Bye. Yeah. Yes,
because no one's thinking about
your name. Your name got brought up in conversation.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you, Queen Bee.
Yes. Yes.
Another 5 minutes of fame, whatever.
That's all he could get.
Yeah.
He's to get into it.
Yeah.
About B and making this transition. She's calling it Act 2. Is that right? And I am Beehive. I'm just going to go ahead and put that out there. I think everybody knows that Paulette's Beehive as well.
I am.
Look at April.
Beehive, because she did drag me to the Beyonce concert. We went all the way to New York, and she dragged me to the Beyonce concert.
Okay.
And I loved it.
Not the Renaissance tour.
It wasn't hard, was it?
I couldn't
really turn it down.
But we went to the Lemonade tour.
I enjoyed it, but I'm not a
Beehive. Yeah, it was great. She was great. That was the year Prince died, and she sang Purple Rain, and that was tops for me. Oh my gosh, that I was in a whole other place. But let's talk about B and her Act 2 and thoughts about her release and her launch. 16 carriages, Texas Hold'em. What are your thoughts?
Oh man, it's exciting. It's very exciting, but it's also complicated, right? And I think she knows that because of her experience with Daddy Lessons in 2016 and performing at CMAs and people just acting like they had a brick in their stump. Like they just, they could not appreciate. Don't get me started.
Wow.
But, I think she understands. The thing is that she's as country can be. She's from Houston, Texas, and you can.
That's what I said. It should be easy transition. I don't understand.
You can pull up her interviews and hear, like, my husband tags me all the time because every now and then, like, I'm from Virginia. We're here in Virginia. I grew up here, so it's interesting. Like, we're right in the middle between the North and the South, right?
Right.
So once you get to North Carolina, it gets thick, right?
Yes.
That country gets thick.
Yes.
But Virginia, we're kind of like, right? You don't really know.
Yeah.
But every now and then, my husband will be like, I don't know. I can't even conjure it right now because I don't know when. But he's just like, babe, you are country.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, what you mean you can't smell the rain? Like, you can
and I can feel it in my bones, my
like,
smell rain.
Yes. My neck's hurting back here. I know, you know what
I
mean?
Yeah.
So true. Every now and then that Southerners do come out.
Yeah.
I always say we are below the Mason-Dixon line, so please forgive us.
Yeah.
Forgive us.
You know what I'm saying? So, and so you look at her interviews, and it's just obvious as day. And they've always had. I'll never forget. I was in middle school, and they came out. I think it was Bugaboo or one of the music videos where they were rocking their cowgirl hats.
Yeah,
they had black girls in New York, groups of them with a cowgirl hat on. Like, Beyonce has always been country. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's true. That's absolutely.
I honestly, like listening to 16 Carriages, it feels like it's right at home for her. 16 Carriages feels like it is just right in her pocket.
Yeah.
Right in her pocket.
Okay.
And I'm looking forward to hearing the more sentimental side. She's done a lot of projects where she's had very sentimental or that sentimental projects that I think diving into country music is going to give her a lot more space to really bloom and expand in that.
Oh, okay.
And so it's complicated because when it comes to the work that Black musicians have been doing in country music for 10, 20 years, grinding at it, the question is this going to be an opportunity where a rising tide lifts all boats? Or is it going to be where she completely overshadows the work that everyone else has been doing and grinding along this whole time? And so I'm very hopeful, and I'm very hopeful. She's very conscious about her Blackness. She's very conscious about the Black community. And so I'm hopeful that they have been aware of the conversation and that it is going to make room for other Black artists, particularly Black women, to be able to step in this limelight as well. But it is complicated in that sense because we really don't know, like, okay, they're going to make an exception for her. Like, there was one article that came out, Variety, and the journalist was saying that radio directors were saying, like, oh, we've been waiting for a Black superstar like Beyonce for country radio, but we just haven't found her yet. And it's like, you want to pull your hair out because excuse me, like Mickey Guyton, Tina Adele, Britney Spencer,
they're there.
You know what I mean? You're just like, okay, sure. Whatever you got to tell yourself to convince yourself.
Right. There you go.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So it's like major eye roll. Like, come on, man. People been out here. Mickey Guyton, her vocals, like, she is incredible. She's incredible.
Yes.
And she just needed the support.
Yeah.
So that's I'm absolutely excited because, someone as big and as powerful as Beyonce definitely validates the work that we're doing. Especially, I think I'm more excited for what it's going to mean for the Black community. So
yes,
country radio run by white men aside, right? Put that aside.
okay.
What it means as far as opening the doors and opening the hearts and the ears of Black people in country music.
Yes.
Right? Because for a really long time, and even you guys have expressed, it's like, I don't listen to country music like that, but you know, people come to my concert and they're like, well, I really like this. Why?
Yes.
It's because I'm intentional, and people hear in my songs our Black stories.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
They hear they hear Nina Simone.
Yes.
Right? A typical artist, a typical country artist is going to shout out Dolly Parton, right? And you know, Tim McGraw or Loretta Lynn or whatever, right? They're going to shout out,
okay.
And that is okay. They're going to shout out legends that they respect. Well, I'm a country artist, and a legend that I happen to respect is Nina Simone. Right? A legend that I happen, you see what I'm saying? And so the average artist probably wouldn't think to do that. But when the Black community hears that, especially for example, hip hop, because my husband, he loves hip hop, and that night, like the song, it literally is how it happened. I write a lot of songs, just that is literally what happened. We were on the other side of the water. It was getting late. The sun was setting. We needed some food. We sat down and we were eating dinner in the parking lot, listening to music. Right?
Look at that.
That's serious. That is how it happened. And so my husband and I started talking about Nina Simone, and my daughter's like, "Mommy, who's that?" So I started playing her, and my husband's like, "Oh, that's who that is." Because in hip hop, they sample Nina Simone
all the time.
All the time. So think about that connection now, right? Between someone who loves hip hop and this country song.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You're not going to have the same connection between someone who loves hip hop and someone who says Loretta Lynn. That's just going to go over.
That's not going to,
That's not going to connect.
Right.
No.
And
and that's what I heard when I said that country meet Blackness. I mean, our Black experience.
Yes.
And so I can see how that's going to open up to, because we can be really narrow-mindedness.
Yeah.
We can be very minded about things that we don't know. We don't know country. The only time we know country is like back in the day before there was satellite TV.
I don't think that's what it is.
No.
Country music has created a culture that subconsciously told Black people we weren't allowed.
You know what? There you go. That's
there you go.
You know what I'm saying? It wasn't because Black people created country.
Right.
We made country music.
Yes.
Now, there's that debate going on. So talk about that a little bit. I was doing some research, and as you research, there's only so much out there because the gatekeepers are going to put out there what they want you to know, just like in school. So I understand that Jimmie Rodgers is thought to be, or normally portrayed as, the father or grandfather of country. But there are arguments that I have seen on social media all week, and not knowing the background, I wanted to hear more about this, is talking about our creation of country music from hymns, from old hymns, and that those old hymns of the Black church were used in country songs. And that I can identify with because I've heard some of those, and I remember hearing that when I was young. So if you could talk a little bit about our history in country music.
Absolutely. I'll never forget, my mom was telling me that she was driving and she thought she tuned into a gospel station. She was sitting there thinking she was just listening to some good old gospel till she heard a word. She's like, "This is a country music station." Right? And so one of the best examples of that is the banjo.
Yes.
That was inspired by a West African instrument. I can't remember the pronunciation. It's not coming to my head right now. But they used to make these stringed instruments out of gourds, right? African slaves brought them with them during the slave trade to America. And so that in turn eventually developed into the banjo. The banjo was predominantly and initially a Black community instrument. Had a long day's work, right? Sharecropper or whoever, you working all day. What are the things that you would do to relax and entertain yourself? Somebody would get on that banjo and play at night on the porch. Family, everybody's hanging out, passing out some food, passing out some of those bean or that gum, whatever, right? And they're on the porch playing the banjo. Well, at a certain point, there started to become minstrel shows as a form of entertainment.
Right.
And these minstrel shows, because they would not hire Black, of course they weren't hiring Black people and they weren't planning on paying them or nothing. These minstrel shows would essentially be white people painted in blackface to poke fun of Black culture. And what did they do to poke fun of Black culture? They would sit there and play the banjo. Blah, 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 ha, 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 look at me, I'm a goofy old Black person, right? That's what they were doing in these minstrel shows. Well, the minstrel shows were such a popular form of entertainment that eventually the music became popular too.
Okay. Wow.
So they were mocking Black people and playing Black music on that Black banjo.
Yeah.
But because that entertainment was popular, they started to record that banjo and record that type of music to sell.
Yep.
Wow.
Okay.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Now, you had this 19th century, 20th century, you have Black artists and white artists. Black man and poor white man had a lot in common. Poor white man couldn't vote.
Right.
You couldn't vote unless you had land.
Right.
Poor white man couldn't, right? Black man wasn't getting paid for jobs. White man couldn't find jobs because they were exploiting me over here, right? They had a lot in common. So Black community, poor white Appalachian community, immigrants, Scottish, Irish, right? They had a lot in common. They were singing these songs. They were going on that banjo and singing these tunes. And eventually the technology came along to where the record industry was able to record those songs on vinyl and sell them. Well, all of our markets are segregated.
Right.
Yep.
Every market segregated.
Yeah.
We're not crossing y'all. So if you are a Black person and you're playing this banjo and you're playing songs, or you're playing guitar and you're playing a song, and a white person is playing guitar or playing banjo and playing the same exact music, same exact style, but I have to sell you now.
Right.
So I'm gonna sell you over here, and I'm gonna call you Race Records because you're Black. And you over here, same instrument, same tunes, same sound, but you're white. So I'm gonna call you Hillbilly because that's what y'all, you little poor white. See, that's what white people need to understand too, is that they didn't like y'all either. Okay. Like they didn't like white people either. They were looking down on you like, how can I exploit this guy too? Right?
Right, because it's a classism. Right.
Classism. Right?
Yes.
Just classism with a new mask.
Right.
Yes.
With a mask.
Yes.
And so you guys are hillbillies, right? Up in them hills, working hard, Appalachian and working the coal miner's daughter, right? That's y'all. So you're
right.
hillbilly and you're race records. You know what happened to race records and hillbilly? R&B, country.
Whoa.
I've
I learned something today, okay?
Yeah.
And our listeners commend the shows because they're able to learn something. They learned something today, honey. They got a history lesson in country music.
Yes. And I've always felt that way because I always say that country music, bluegrass music, jazz music, blues music, they're cousins. There are cousins. They come from the same source. They share the same, it's the same but different experiences. Yeah. It's come out of the challenges and the disparities and the joys and the pains of the culture. But one is white and one is Black. But it came from the same source, which was that African.
Yeah.
The true source came from that one African over there. It's like in my opinion, I don't mean to go back to the Bible, but it's like the Ishmael Isaac thing. Both came from Abraham. This was the progenitor for Muslims, and this became the progenitor for Christianity. It's the same source, came from the same loins, came from the same God, but they call it different things. Yeah. So that's how I look at music. It's all one source. It comes from one source, and that's God's source. Yeah. He is the one to give you to it, but it's our interpretation, how we perceive it and how we express it that's different. But really,
and that's what speaks to us.
Absolutely. Yeah. Here's the thing. Country music has become a last battleground for segregationists and Aryan Nation. That seems to be like the last bit of culture that they can hold on to, despite the fact that it was yet another thing that they stole. There's the last tidbit that they could just hold on to and call theirs. So when you look at the relationship between the Black community and country music, right? When you pull up to a concert, you see that Confederate flag, you're like,
right, here we go.
Right?
Exactly.
Because
right.
You ain't never going to see a Confederate flag at a jazz concert. There's plenty of white people out here playing jazz.
Yes, exactly.
Lots of white people who play jazz. No Confederate flag in sight.
No Confederate flag. Right. That's right. Yeah.
Right.
Lots of white people who play pop music everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
No Confederate flag. None of that.
So do you think there'll ever be a bridging of the gap, if you will, because we want to see, I personally want to see, you've mentioned it, country music flourish within our Black community, because we've got a story to tell, and we want that story to be told with this great music, country music, telling stories that we relate to. And it is okay for people who don't have our experience to relate to something else. That is okay. How do we get to that common ground where there's not the fight and to stand our ground, but to also not have the combativeness, if you will? What does that look like? Is that possible? Can it happen?
I think on our level, right? So, for example, a lot of the conversation goes back to the gatekeepers and the people who call the shots up here, right at the top. If you look at other artists, for example, other white artists, like they love collaborating, they love they're here for all of it, right?
Right.
But again, it goes back to race records and the hillbilly, right?
Right.
Where right now, if we're talking about country music, right now you have Black country music artists, white country music artists. If a Black country music artist puts 808 beats in their songs, then the radio heads at the top are gonna be like, "Oh, you're not country." But if a white artist puts 808 beats in their songs, their heads, "Oh wow, look at how cool and new and innovative this is. That's cool, yeah, right."
Yes.
So it's not necessarily between these two groups of people.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? It's not between these two groups of people. It's between the people at the top.
Right.
And the history of America and the history of Black America. See, I like to call Black people in America, we're the middle child. Black people.
What you mean?
Middle children?
Say more about that.
The middle child.
That's the one that gets ignored, generally speaking.
Right.
That doesn't have an identity, if you will.
The ones that cause problems, but the reason why we call... What? Did y'all see that?
Hey, girls, celebrate. We're celebrating country music. Yay! We're celebrating Black artists, country music. Yeah.
She said the middle child will not be ignored.
Will not be ignored. No, but the middle child is too smart, and they're gonna call it what it is.
Yep. There you go. That's
it.
And
so the older child. Say again.
That's why they're upset, because we're calling them out to face.
Yeah. No. We're the middle child. We're not.
Yeah. I think I really feel like, I always talk about social media, and I hate the negativity. However, I am liking how everybody and a lot of us are embracing the new music by Beyoncé, and they're coming out with all these dance challenges. Y'all know how I am about my dance.
Line dance, oh yes.
But they're coming out with these dance challenges, and like I said, and it's not just us; it's everybody is really embracing. And I think she has grown to be able to help bridge that gap better and have more people looking at, country, Black country music and saying, hey, maybe, we need to take a second look at this. Cause, K. Michelle tried her hand at it. I'm not sure where it went with that because I really didn't hear, a lot. I heard one song that she collaborated with another artist. But her own project, I don't know how far that actually went, but I'm really hoping that this continues to bring that middle child right onto the top. You know what I mean? Yeah. I think she's going to do a good job at bridging that gap that you were talking about, Linda.
Yeah. I don't think, well, here's the thing is that Black America, no one has ever given us what we wanted out of the kindness of their hearts. Mm-hmm. We always had to argue. We always had to bring about a little friction.
Yeah.
We always had to come about and poke and say, excuse me, but this isn't right. This ain't right. This isn't right.
You had to call it out. You're absolutely right.
You had to call it out. And so, unfortunately, right, because the Black Opry has been a beautiful movement. This isn't the first time this has happened, though. There was the Black Country Music Association that was happening in the 80s and 90s.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Frankie Staten and her count and others were the first all black writers round at the Bluebird Cafe down in Tennessee, down in Nashville, right?
Oh, okay.
So this movement has been here before, and then before them you had Charlie Pride, and then before that you had Charlie Pride and Linda Martell, first Black woman to chart in country music, right?
Yeah.
And before that, there was DeFord Bailey. He was the very first person to ever perform on the Grand Ole Opry stage was a Black man.
Wow. I did not realize that. Wow.
You see what I'm saying?
Wow. Yeah.
And so you're talking about decades ago, and we still haven't seen much of a budge. And so we just know this isn't going to go down without a fight.
That's right. Yes.
It is what it is. You know?
We're ready. And this summer, I'm going to tell y'all now, because Beyonce was 9 years old when I was sporting my cowboy boots up in New York City when I was going to college. I just want everybody to know that. I was a Black girl sporting my cowboy boots. I was.
Yes.
So, in my Daisy first year of college?
My first year of college, my Daisy Dukes and my Black cowboy boots, okay? On 42nd Street, just strutting, okay? I was an aerobics instructor at the time, so I had the legs for it then. So this summer, I will be in my cowboy. All through, I will. I'm getting me a new pair of cowboy boots, and I'm gonna get me a nice big bucket. And honey, yes, we represent
no Daisy Dukes.
Well,
come on,
she ain't hanging out with me with no Daisy Dukes. She better put on some. She better put on some pedal pushers.
Not no pedal pushers though.
I said pedal pushers.
I might put on a mini skirt though. I could do a mini skirt. Mm-hmm. I mean, I could probably do Daisy Dukes, but
no.
Tell me, let me drink my wine.
I don't want to see that.
Before we let Roberta go, I do want to talk about your tour dates coming up.
Yes.
I have a quick question for you before we talk about the tour, because I just love your story and what you shared about how organically you have really just worked your dream into and made it come to fruition. When someone is following that path where, their craft is of the arts and, like you talked about riding the wave, it's so important. I'm an actor. So, there's times when I'm cast in many, many different things. There are a lot of different things happening. And then there's a lot of downtime, and sometimes during that downtime, you start to doubt and the imposter syndrome sneaks in. What would you say to artists out there when that begins to happen and how to stay the course?
Ooh, that imposter syndrome is something else.
It is.
It's I would have to say, I had to learn to enjoy those downtimes because when it's go time, when it's time to hit the road, next thing you know, you're so tired, you're like, "Whoo, I can't wait to get home." Right. And so, that life is like, it's a journey. It's a roller coaster. So you have the ups, you have the downs, you have the ons and the offs. Right. And so not only that, I think for me, what grounds me a lot is getting involved in my community and making sure that I'm still connected here at home in Virginia. Because it can be, it's very easy to get on the road and it looks glamorous that you're flying and you're doing, you got shows or you got all that kind of stuff. But for me, I'm like, it felt like the cart before the horse if everyone knew me out there, but nobody knows me here.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so on that downtime, like you said, so you're in the arts. So is there opportunity to teach acting and get involved in a nonprofit in the area that will teach kids, acting and giving creative lessons? That's what I do on my downtime. I'm a part of a program called Virginia Arts for Learning, and I'll do programs around the area, after school program where I just teach kids what songwriting is all about. And then we just did a mental health program where I did a talk on the mental health benefits of music. And so I fill up my space in between with work in the community, so that way not only are you still maintaining that momentum, right? It's a lower hum now, right? It's not the big splash anymore, or red carpet, or right? It's not a big splash anymore, but you're still maintaining that momentum because you're still taking your craft and you're putting it to good use somewhere. Right. And so I feel like a lot of people are always we're kind of just waiting for this high, because I felt like that a couple of times, right? And I even remember as 2023 started to come to a close, and I remember just thinking to myself and praying like, man, God, 2023 was so amazing. How are we going to top that?
What now? Right?
What now? Right? And and an irrational fear that whatever it is it going to be enough? And I think maintaining connection to your craft and to your community, right, between your craft and your community, is going to maintain you until the next high, until the next splash, right? And then you ride that ride, right? Yeah. And then as it settles, you're in your community, you're doing little acting classes here, you're doing songwriting classes over there, you're giving this little talk here, and you're, doing networking there, you're just doing little things, the next, boom, splash again, right? Right. So I think that's what helps to maintain those in-between spaces. And that helps to combat that imposter syndrome. Because if you think about imposter syndrome, you feel like an imposter when you're in a space, feel like you belong there. Well, honestly, regularly, do we belong on movie sets all the time? No, that's not a common part of the human experience. Being on a red carpet is not a common part of human experience, right? That's not it's not your everyday kind of thing. And so combating that would be grounding ourselves in those everyday human experiences with the community, the arts, kids don't care who you are. Right. Yeah. And they're like, you're who? You do what now? You know what I mean? You just like, yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm nobody. Great. Let's just talk about songwriting today. And those experiences definitely keep me grounded until the next high. So
thank you. Wow. Thank you. That is very helpful. Yeah. Yes. So your tour, upcoming this Friday, right? February 23rd at Zyder's Dream Theater. February 28th at Elevation 27.
Yes. Opening for Chapel Heart.
Oh, nice. Excellent. Yes. Wonderful.
Yes.
Then the March dates, we've got you at the Ferguson Center in Newport News, March 24th. The Wolf Trap in Vienna, Virginia, March 29th. And then you're going to be traveling outside of the state, up in Kennett Square, PA, the Kennett Flash.
Yep.
On April 19th.
Yep.
April 20th, 420 Concert Studios, Freehold, New Jersey. Awesome.
Yep. All right.
And April 21st. Wow, 3 days. You're back to back to back. Yeah. Argyle Brewing Company in Cambridge, New York. Yeah. Excellent. You have any dates scheduled beyond those? I mean, that's enough for right now, but do you have a date scheduled out beyond?
Yeah, we're working on filling out the whole year. We have a date in Wisconsin coming up.
Okay.
Then we have, we just got a one for Dollywood. So there's we start filling throughout the year.
Yeah, I've heard about that place.
That's where
I know.
I've heard about Dollywood. Oh my.
They're awesome. And they're one of the few venues that gave me a shot, in the beginning, that took a risk on me and had me come out and gave me the experience. Yeah, absolutely. Nice. And so what my booking agent will usually do is book an anchor date, right? Which is a big show, and then build dates that kind of go around that. So we have Florida. We're doing Tortuga Festival with the Black Opry in Florida. That's going to be incredible. Just a handful of things. So it's been great. And I'm really looking forward to it.
That is wonderful.
Yes, you got a busy year. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome. We'd love to hear that. Yes. And if you could tell our listeners where they can stream your music, purchase your music, and also where they can find you online.
Well, you can find me online. I am Roberta Lea, spelled Lea, online. That's Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. And then you can look me up on your preferred streaming platform, whether that's Apple Music, Amazon Music, Spotify, Tidal, any of those or any of the other ones, right? Because there's like a lot, I think.
Yes, there are.
There's a lot. And so you just find me, just type in Roberta Lea, and my project Too Much of a Woman is the most recent one, and you'll be able to enjoy my music there. So that's where they can find me.
Yes, wonderful.
Is the key word. You will definitely enjoy her music.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh, and I did want to bring one more thing up. I forgot. You performed at it wasn't called Something in the Water. It was the side gig.
Something Indie Water. Yes.
Something Indie Water. And that was at Family Fun Experience Theater. That's the theater where I performed. I didn't get a chance to come see you. I was so excited you were there.
Oh, what a small world. That's awesome.
Yes. So I thought that was awesome. But we'll definitely be getting out to see you. We got to drag April out to a concert. She hasn't been yet, so we got to get it. And we don't have to drag. She's going to want to come. Yes, this Friday. That's right.
Yep.
I'm thinking about the 23rd. The one in Newport News.
Ferguson Center.
Center. Yeah.
That's the day we come back from our spa trip, our girls trip. We're gonna be blasting the song. Yeah. We could definitely do that. I'd be down to do that. So
yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah, let's do it.
Roberta. Yeah. Roberta, thank you so much for being here. When I reached out to you, you responded right away. You shared that you were excited to be here. I can't thank you enough. You're just such a wonderful, humble human being, and just so kind. And kindness is really at a premium these days, right? You don't see kindness a lot. And that speaks to me. So I really appreciate. Yeah.
Genuine kindness, genuine kindness.
Well, you guys made it easy. That's for sure. This was a lot of fun. Loved it.
It was so easy talking with you. It was like we were on a girls trip.
Yes.
That's right.
I love it.
Exactly.
We'll definitely have to have you on again. We'll definitely have to get on your schedule for that. So.
Absolutely.
Thank you again. And listeners, as we always say, have the wine you love the wine you're with. It's a wrap. Yay.
It's a wrap.
Thank you so much again. I so appreciate you.
Thank you. We still need to circle back to this line dance conversation.
Thank you for listening to Uncorked-N-Conversation. This podcast is co-hosted by Linda White April N. Brown, Paulette Irby, and Sarita Bostic. It is produced and edited by April N. Brown. The music is by Ben Sound.